Today we are going mystery solving as we take a look at a pup named Scooby-Doo. It is the 8th incarnation of Hanna-Barbera's Scooby-Doo franchise, and it depicts a younger version of Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Inc. gang. They still solve mysteries like the original series. It aired for 3 seasons between 1988 and 1991. So now that we have all caught up, let's take a look at a few episodes. First up, we have a bicycle built for Boo. So Shaggy is telling us about the city and how the newspaper arrives every day because he has a newspaper round. We then see Shaggy fast asleep as Scooby-Doo then comes in and wakes him up. Shaggy tells Scoob to put the papers on the bike as he goes to do that. All of a sudden a green hand gives him a paper. Scooby is shocked as we get a first look at the monster. The monster takes the bike as Scooby runs back inside and hides under the bed. Shaggy asks what is wrong as Scooby says there is a monster outside. The monster rides off on Shaggy's bike. So at the treehouse the gang are all here as they are discussing the stolen bike as Shaggy throws a fit. They think about who could have done it as Scooby acts out the scary ghost. Fred is confused on why a monster would do it as Daphne says there are no such thing as monsters. Fred names a suspect the neighbor Red Herring. He is the big bully as we see him kick over the trash cans. The gang follow him as they head into the woods. Shaggy is pooping himself as Daphne says there is nothing to be scared of as she gets her foot stuck in mud. All of a sudden the monster comes out of the mud and scares Shaggy and Scooby. The monster shocks the gang as Scooby faints, but it is then revealed that it is Red. They blame Red for taking his bike as Velma then finds it behind the bushes. But Shaggy then says it is not his bike because his is painted red. Red says that it is his bike as Fred doesn't believe him. He says he painted the bike blue as he then uses a sandpaper machine to destroy the bike. Fred is embarrassed as Red hurts Fred. So Fred is covered in a tire track as Shaggy says they have to pay for his new bike. So Velma then comes up with an idea. She pulls out her machine from the suitcase as they look at the tire tracks from Shaggy's bike. They follow the tracks as Scooby finds the way. They follow him as they zoom to the location. They arrive at the newspapers as they head inside. They bump into Shaggy's boss as Scooby sneezes all the ink everywhere. He nearly falls out the window as he causes chaos in the place. The boss tells the gang to get out as they can't find the bike. So Scooby tries again as they reach a haunted house. Shaggy and Scooby are scared as they head in. Daphne gives Scooby a snack as Fred tells the gang to split up. Shaggy, Velma and Scooby check the backyard as Scooby then finds the monster. The monster tells them to get out as Scooby pushes the monster back down the cellar. They go to tell the other two as Daphne doesn't believe them. Some psychic comes out of nowhere and introduces herself. She says there are monsters and evil spirits as she then gets a message from the beyond as she scares the kids. She drops a camera thing as Scooby gets shocked. Fred comes up with the idea that she is an alien who came here to steal bikes. Shaggy says that is crazy as Daphne then finds a trail. They head inside the house as they then fall through the floor. They land in a load of money as they ask where it came from. Fred says something stupid as Shaggy says he can use the money to buy 1 billion bikes. Velma checks with the machine as she finds out it is counterfeit. Shaggy then finds the monster behind the door as they rush off. Velma saves the day as she pushes a button that rotates the fireplace. They head down a slide as they land in some dark basement. They find a newspaper machine as Fred says something more stupid. Shaggy and Scooby find some stairs as Scooby trips down. He lands on the bike as everyone cheers. Velma says the chain is missing as it is used on the paper machine. The monster comes back and scares them again. So we get a song as they run away and dance for some reason. Velma loses her glasses as Scooby saves her. So Scooby sneezes once more as he bumps into the monster. The monster lands on the paper machine as he gets trapped inside. Fred then asks if we know who it is as Fred then gives his idea. He is wrong as it isn't the psychic. She then reveals she is an agent here to find the fake money. Velma explains everything as it is then revealed to be Shaggy's boss. He says he needed the bike chain as the agent arrests him. Shaggy quits the paper round as they all head to the diner to eat up. The episode then ends. Next up we have the sludge monster from the Earth's core. So Shaggy is explaining that he and Scooby were having a movie night as he brings out a large bucket of popcorn. They eat up as the news is playing, explaining there was a robbery at a bank, so they are talking to the janitor who saw it all. Shaggy and Scooby are shocked as the janitor continues to explain everything. They hide in the bucket as the news reporter tells the kids to get to bed. Shaggy asks why are they scared as Scooby heads to bed as he then finds the monster in his kennel. He rushes back inside as Shaggy is brushing his teeth. Shaggy asks what is wrong as Scooby explains. Shaggy can't believe it as he hides too. He calls the gang as Daphne doesn't believe him. Scooby does his best impression as he scares Shaggy. Fred leads the gang as they climb to Red's house as Fred blames him once more. Red doesn't know what he is talking about as they fall from the window. Fred has more good ideas as he then says they need to head inside the kennel. Scooby says no as Daphne tries to get him inside. She gives him 3 Scooby snacks as he heads inside. Everyone else follows as it is very big inside, much like the TARDIS, bigger on the inside. Fred suggests to split up as Shaggy and Scooby say no. The other 3 head off as Shaggy and Scooby head to find food. They find a safe behind a picture containing all the food as they eat away. The monster is watching on as it then scares them. So we get a song as they run away. The other 3 are looking around as Velma finds some footprints. The night starts shaking as Velma reveals Scooby and Shaggy inside. Velma conducts an experiment as she says it is mud. Daphne says that is horrible as Scooby hides in a book. Shaggy threatened to call the police as everything has mud on it. The police arrive as they explain they aren't looking for a monster but instead the bank robber. Daphne says he could be the monster as Scooby shows off to the police what the monster looks like. The officer ignores him as the bank owner turns up. He asks the police to hurry up as the gang head back to the kennel. They head back inside as someone comes and scares them. It's revealed to be the janitor. The gang are confused why he is here. He says he saw the monster as well. The janitor says it was the monster who robbed the bank as the police are on his tail. Shaggy says we should listen to him as Velma is on her computer. So everyone is eating up as they're discussing the janitor and the monster. Daphne tries the sink as it doesn't work. Velma says the problem is in the basement, so they head down there. They find a bunch of gold as the gang are shocked. Scooby says it isn't his as the monster scares them off. Velma finds more slime as she uses the machine to show how big Scooby's kennel is. Fred says they need to go down there as Daphne gives Scooby some more snacks. So they are floating down some water as Daphne says it has cooties. They find a ladder as it leads to the bank. The monster then turns up once more as the gang then notice the monster has a key to the bank. Fred says the key must belong to Red Herring as the monster scares them off. We then get a comedy bit as Shaggy and Scooby pretend to be tellers. These are always my favorite bits. So then the gang rush into the vault as Daphne hates being covered in mud. The monster continues to follow them as they get back as fast as they can. They play up in manholes as they border the place up. Velma comes up with a plan as she leaves the gold on the floor leading to Scooby to hose down the monster. The monster turns it off as the gang run off again. Shaggy then says his mom and sister are sleeping so they tiptoe around. It's all a bit silly as the monster then gets stuck in the dog door. The police arrive as Fred says it was the janitor but he was standing right here. Velma reveals it is the bank owner as she explains everything as the episode then ends. Finally we have Wanted Cheddar alive. So Shaggy is talking about the Scooby snack factory as they are testing the chocolate. But at the cheese lab, something bad was happening as the people rush over there. All of a sudden some monster comes out of the pot as he scares the people off. Everyone runs out the factory as the monster says no more Scooby snacks. So Shaggy is making some pancakes as Scooby arrives. He is very tired. Shaggy serves up the pancake as Scooby falls asleep. Shaggy wakes him up with some Scooby snacks as he lays out the table. Shaggy goes into his cupboard full of snacks as he says everything is empty. Scooby can't believe it. He pulls Shaggy to the supermarket as he goes flying. They can't find any in the supermarket either. Scooby dies as an ambulance takes him home. Velma is trying to make him better as Shaggy puts on the TV. The news reporter has a report on the cheese monster as the owner explains everything. She says there will be no more Scooby snacks as Scooby can't believe it. Some other guy says there are new snacks in town as Scooby says he doesn't want the new snacks. Fred says it's time to investigate. The police are looking around the cheese factory as the owner is upset. The other guy says she can work for him. She says she can't as the gang say they will investigate. The woman says they are just kids as Fred asks if they have any enemies. The woman talks about Boris as he was very bad at his job. The owner and the other guy head off as she can't believe she is talking to kids. The car smokes everywhere as something rumbles in the bushes. Scooby puts up a fight as he then gets scared. Velma pulls out Red as Fred knew it was him. Red says the monster is a good guy for scaring Scooby. Daphne can't believe him as Red tricks Scooby. Red pulls a lever and gets wet as the gang laugh at him. He heads off as Fred wants to head inside. Scooby can't head inside because he hasn't had his Scooby snacks. Fred forgets this as Daphne says there are no monsters. Shaggy says there might be snacks inside as Scooby dashes in. So the gang are walking through the factory as they spot a snack. But a mouse eats it before Scooby does. They come to some stairs as Scooby finds some footprints. Velma finds out it is cheese as they head into the room that has been covered in cheese. They head towards the file cabinet as it has been left open. They find a top-secret formula as all of a sudden there is a special announcement. The news reporter explains it is an important clue. Fred finds the monster as the gang rush off. They are cornered as Velma uses her yo-yo to start the levers. They pick the gang up as they are then dipped in stuff. They get out as Daphne hates it. Scooby licks them all clean as he then licks a spicy one. He heads to get some water as Velma comes across a new suit that is covered in cheese and tossed in the trash. Fred suggests splitting up as he is taking Daphne alone. Lucky him. So Velma comes up with an idea to use Shaggy to follow the cheese instead of Scooby as they find the monster. The three of them dash off as they then mess around with the monster as they pretend to do a job interview. They run off again as Fred and Daphne find a chemistry set. The others arrive as they say the monster is on their tail. They hear a noise as they spot someone running off. Shaggy and Scooby then ride a chair as they bump into Boris. Velma uses some gum to stop the chair as Fred goes wild on Boris. Boris explains why he was fired from the factory as they ask if he has a blue suit. Fred then spots some cheese on his shoe but Boris says it is on Fred's shoes as well. Fred accuses Boris as the gang don't listen to Fred. Boris runs off as the monster then arrives. So the gang run for their lives as a song then plays. Fred spills over some syrup as the monster then catches them all and ties them up. Scooby is looking for them as they shout for help. Scooby gathers all his courage as he charges in. The monster leaves the others alone as Scooby then bumps into the monster. Scooby is scared as he runs around in circles. Daphne uses her nail file to break out as Scooby gets cornered by the monster. The gang try to get in but it is locked. All of a sudden Scooby licks the cheese away as the guy rushes out of the room. Velma catches the monster as Shaggy makes a joke. The police arrive as the owner says she is back in business. Fred asks if we know who it is as we recap the clues. Fred suggests Red once more as Velma reveals it is the new business owner as Daphne explains he was trying to take over the market. The owner rehires Boris as at home they get a huge bunch of Scooby snacks. Scooby eats up as the episode ends. Overall, A Pup Named Scooby-Doo was a great show. It was very funny and kept to the original Scooby-Doo theme while making it aimed towards younger kids. The animation style reminds me of the old Peanuts cartoons and the show kept itself to its Scooby-Doo roots, so it is a must-watch. So thank you for watching. If you have any TV shows you like to see me do, put them in the comments.